What is up, Knicks fans? Welcome back to yet another episode of Fireside Knicks with your hosts Dylan and Davin. And today we're going to talk about the backup center situation with the New York Knicks because it is rough, to say the least. I mean, Jericho Sims has been the primary backup big, and he has pretty much provided nothing on either side of the floor, and I think it's time we need to have the discussion of to bring in Ariel Hukporti and have him be the primary backup for right now. We don't have Precious Achiuwa and we don't have Mitchell Robinson. We know those guys are going to end up being the primary backup bigs when they're healthy, but they're not healthy right now, and we don't know when they're going to be healthy, so we have to look at the options we currently have available. And right now, I think it's time to say that Ariel Hukporti is the guy to go to and to really just kind of phase Sims out of this rotation, because I understand you have a little more trust in Sims than Hukporti because Sims has been around longer, but he has provided nothing, and quite frankly, last night against the Rockets, he was killing the Knicks, so I think it's time to have that discussion. So, Davin, first off, tell me how you're doing, and secondly, tell me about Jericho Sims first, because I think he's the guy we have to talk about first, just because he's the one who's been playing.
Doing great, man. Thank you for asking. And well, I mean, you couldn't have said it any better. Jericho Sims has not been what we need. 14 minutes per game, 1.3 points per game. Before he can't even average 5 rebounds per game in 14 minutes per game. And it's like at this point, the whole argument about him playing over Hukporti is just off of tenure and money. Of course, we know money's involved. I have a saying right now: if you make more money, if you make more money, you're going to have to play unless your name is Evan Fournier. So it's like, other than that, Tibbs, only guy he hasn't really touched like that is Fournier in all these years that we've seen as making money and should be playing. But no, Jericho Sims is making a little more than Hukporti. Guaranteed $3.5 million for Jericho Sims. So it's like some things like that are just how the way business works. Jericho Sims is going to get more looks. He's going to get more tries. He has more tenure. So that just comes with it. But we see how he operates. We see how much it hurts the Knicks. We see how lost he looks. We see like just a deer in the headlights out there on offense, and it's just not. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable at all as a backup big, as well as defensively. Then you can't grab rebounds. It's like at that point you're doing cardio at that point, man.
Yeah, and as you mentioned the defense too, there's been too many defensive miscues from Sims. Just simply too many. Dropping back too far in coverage, getting too far underneath the basket, leaving for wide open floaters, wide open dunks, struggling to grab rebounds too. Too much help defense as well, helping out defenders way too much, leaving centers wide open for putback dunks and layups. There's too many basic miscues, and from a fourth-year big, you don't want to be seeing that anymore. You can live with seeing those type of mistakes from a first or second-year player, but Sims has been around for a while, and he has gotten opportunities. This is a guy who has made 32 starts in his career, so he has gotten the opportunity and the time to kind of correct these mistakes, and it's more of the same. And I really think the biggest thing I noticed from last night against Houston, Karl Anthony Towns got into foul trouble early, right? And then Sims came in the game to finish out the second quarter. And that was when Houston went on their run. That was when Houston was able to push the lead to 15 points. And I know some people are going to be like, oh, but Sims was a plus 14 last night. That is a misleading stat. It is, because Sims is not the reason why the Knicks had closed the gap to end that second quarter. It was OG Anunoby. He was the reason why that gap was closed. He was the only one getting it going in the first half offensively. So, we can't be just looking at the plus-minus thing. And, it brings it back to it, too, because even with that plus-minus, against Detroit, he was a plus 0, and Detroit was a 30-point blowout for the entire game. So, if you're a plus 0 in a 30-point blowout, what does that tell you? How much are you really providing on that on either end of the floor at that point? And we know Sims is not exactly somebody that provides much offensively. This is kind of a guy that we didn't expect to really do anything offensively. That's not the thing. It's that he's not doing anything offensively. He's not taking any shots. He's not being a lob threat or any sort of interior presence. But the defense is the big thing. He's not even doing anything on the defensive side. And when he is out there, teams go on runs. The offense starts to be stagnant a little bit too, and it's a mess. And I don't think Hukporti is like the ultimate solution, because at the end of the day he is a rookie and he's unproven. But in the limited action that he got against Cleveland showed me something a little bit. It showed me that he is capable of handling some NBA bigs. He's able to, hold his own against these guys. Of course, it's a very, very small sample size. He only played 12 minutes in that game, and pretty much every other action he has gotten this season so far has been in garbage time. But what more do you have to lose by playing Hukporti? Because, respectfully, Jericho Sims is garbage. I don't even mean to be, so harsh on the guy, but it's 4 years now.
Yeah.
I can be critical about this. He has not been really good at all this year. He has struggled to really make an impact on either end of the floor, and the leash is too long. It's too long. I know we're only 6 games in, But I think we've seen enough now. I don't think we're really going to see any sort of significant improvement from Sims anytime soon. There's a lack of awareness, the defensive miscues I mentioned, the lack of offensive creation. It's not a good formula. And I know it's not entirely Sims's fault. He was kind of thrusted back into the rotation after Achua got hurt, so he kind of had to become the backup big. But either way, I think Sims also knew in some way he was probably going to have to play a little bit this year because of Robinson's injury. So in a way, you should have been able to prepare for this stuff and prepare yourself to, have a lot of action. And so far in the action he's gotten, he's provided nothing. He hasn't provided anything whatsoever. And I know, at the end of the day, it's the backup center. He is the last guy off the bench and all this stuff, and you don't really need to make it such a big argument about it. And that's not what we're trying to do here. But the Knicks are 3-3 to start the year. That's a rather slow start. Of course, it's they've had a tough draw, so 3-3 with a brand new team and a tough draw, it's not the worst thing in the world, and the sky's not falling or anything. But I really don't see why we can't just give Hukporti an opportunity. The Knicks just converted his two-way contract to a standard NBA deal yesterday, so why not give Hukporti a shot? Because who knows? What if he ends up being that kind of force down low that you were looking for? That guy that provides some size and athleticism off the bench that you are looking for. I'm not saying that Hukporti is going to end up playing over Achua or Robinson. No chance. But for right now, while these guys are out, I think Hukporti would be the better answer over Sims. I'm sure a lot of fans would agree at this point, but either way, it's not the big solution. I know it's kind of like choosing between two poisons a little bit here because you're playing either a struggling fourth-year center or a rookie center. So yeah, you're kind of got tough choices to make. I understand that, but I really don't know what else Sims is going to do to kind of prove himself worthy of a rotation spot. I don't think we're going to see enough at this point. I personally do not expect any sort of improvement from him whatsoever in the coming weeks or months or anything like that. This is just who Jericho Sims is, okay? He's a backup center who provides nothing offensively and very little defensively and very little on the glass. This is a guy who's supposed to be a high flyer and he's averaging 3 rebounds. That's not going to cut it. It's just not going to cut it. What do you got to say about that, though? I want to get your thoughts on that.
In my honest opinion, like you said, kind of like picking two poisons, Hukporti and Sims. He's a rookie, man. He's rookie. He's unresolved. He has to figure his own game out. Had 5 minutes in Detroit. Didn't get any rebounds, but he played decent defense. I think when it comes to having sizable bigs and really good matchups against Hukporti, he's not that guy. So he's definitely a great backup, but he's definitely not going to be that guy. So like you said, don't expect him over pressures, anything like that. At the same time, he does have more potential. We've seen Jericho Sims, like you said, he's hit his gap, or he's hit his peak already. It feels like he has no more growth in his game defensively or offensively, especially offensively. Because 1.3 points per game in 14 minutes. I'm not going to harp on that too much, but we do. Like I said, everything I think right now is just contractually. I think Jericho Sims really getting playing time, really getting the motions he's had because he has a tenure with Tom Thibodeau, and Tom Thibodeau's going to keep giving him chances. And the New York Knicks, that's just a situation we're in right now. There's no depth on this team. This team from the center is down. We talked about this before the season started. They don't have anyone serviceable at the 5, then that's just going to be an issue they're going to have to deal with all season. We don't want to stretch the whole entire rotation, having Josh Hart playing the 4 and OG Anunoby playing the things like that happening so frequently. But here we are. Here we are 6 games into the season and harping on the fact we don't have any centers that are healthy enough to even go right now. And that everything like that just stretches everyone else more than they have to be. Karl-Anthony Towns, 19 rebounds yesterday, phenomenal game. But at the same time, he can't do it all by himself. He can't do it all. Someone else has to come in and relieve him just a little bit, and we have no one to do that right now. We really don't. And Hukporti, he would be a better option, but 22 minutes he's played this season, he only has 7 rebounds. He had 4 of those 7 rebounds in his first game against the Celtics when we got blown out by 30. So it's like he had a lot of garbage time in opening night, and that's kind of where everyone's he's kind of propelled from there, and he's just getting better and better every game. And you kind of can see the potential with Hukporti. So I think people are kind of, that's where we're having the vision with that. But Jericho Sims, he's just not where he should be, man. And it's a matter of time, I believe, before they kind of make that switch. But until, this $3.5 million guaranteed, he's going to get, I think, at least a 10, 15, maybe even 20 game sample size from Jericho Sims until we have guys that are really ready to go. Because until Achua comes back, we need someone to pick up the ball. And, Hukporti, I believe he can do it, but he has some growing pains, man. Really some growing pains. So that's kind of the way I see it. Hukporti's potential through the roof right now. But if I was to be, making the choice right now, I would start Hukporti. At the same time, I do understand, or have Hukporti coming off the backup, but I do understand why Tibbs has Jericho Sims playing right now. It makes total sense to me. It's just unfortunate, very unfortunate for the New York Knicks.
Yeah, and first off, I want to refute your point about Towns having a great game because, yeah, on paper, 17 points, 19 rebounds, but he was not good defensively, honestly, and, he also got in foul trouble, so that ended up killing the Knicks because they ended up having to use Sims for a lot more than they wanted to use him. And this is why we're in this situation, why we're having this discussion. And, one other thing, too, I think, I understand that you think maybe Sims will get like a 10 to 15 game leash. I think that's too long. I think really he's had a 4-year leash now up to this point, and he's used up that leash. I think really we haven't seen any drastic improvement from him whatsoever. There may be a game or two here where you go, oh, he got some nice rebounds there. He was getting up there and he was being active, but is that really going to move the needle? And I understand that this is a backup center that we're talking about, and it's not like, a game-changing piece, but Sims is legitimately killing the Knicks right now. He is, because when Towns has an off night, like he did last night was not the best of nights for Towns. Yes, he had 19 boards and 17 points, but it doesn't matter. He didn't shoot the ball well, neither did the whole team. The whole team did not shoot the ball well. One of their easily their coldest shooting night of the year. He didn't shoot the ball well, he didn't defend well, and then you kind of need to rely on Sims to kind of hold down the fort, and it was only worse. Sims was not defending well whatsoever. Alperen Sengun had everything going his way the entire game, whether Towns was on him, or whether Sims was on him, or whether OG Anunoby was on him, because OG was guarding him for a large stretch of the game because of Towns being in foul trouble. So, really, I think you need to just make the switch and get Huckporty a shot. What's there to lose? What is there to lose? That's the way I see it, because Sims has provided nothing on either end of the floor. He's been absolute nothing. I mean, literally, I'm looking at it right here. 3 of the last 4 games he's played, he's been scoreless. And in those 3 of those 4 games, he's had 4 rebounds or less. And it's just not acceptable. It's not. You can't have a guy coming off the bench just being absolutely nothing. It's why the bench production overall has been 0 so far. The Knicks rank second to last in the NBA in bench points per game and 4th to last in assists per game off the bench. Of course, we expected those numbers to kind of dip a little bit just because essentially they've been running an 8-man rotation to begin the year, which that's another conversation we can have because I don't think they should be running a rotation that thin at the very beginning of the year. I think that's something you would experiment down the final stretch of the season or into the postseason, not the first 6 games of the year where guys can get hurt. I mean, they're already dealing with an injury situation as it is. So that the kind of just, further leads to my point of why not play Huckporty? Why? Why are we not going to give him an opportunity? Again, I get it. There's a rookie, and I get what you said that, there's more trust with Sims just because he's been around, the contracts, all that stuff. You're paying the guy $3 million. You want to try to get the most out of him while you're paying him, so you're not just forking over $3 million on the bench like you did with Evan Fournier when he was under an $18 million per year contract. But that you need to like really focus on the team success here, because the Knicks made several trades, the 2 big trades in the offseason for Bridges and Karl-Anthony Towns, and of course the midseason trade last year for OG Anunoby to become a finals team. This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to be a finals team this year. Of course, you have that 3 to 4 year window, and it's not necessarily finals or bust this year, but you're trying to go to the finals. You're not just going like, okay, let's just make the second round again, and then we'll reevaluate. No. You want to get to the finals this year. And I know it's the beginning of the season and, playing Sims in the first 6 games might not really affect the outcome of what happens later on in the season. But I think Thibodeau needs to kind of be a little less stubborn with these rotations and play the guys that deserve to play. I don't think Jericho Sims deserves to play right now. I don't. I don't think he has been good enough this season to really do anything. Yes, I understand. It's been only 6 games. But he's provided nothing in those 6 games. There is not one game that stands out to me that I can sit here and say Jericho Sims provided a good impact. Last night would have been the night for that to happen because Towns was in foul trouble, and that was one of his more cold shooting nights. Last night would have been the opportunity for Sims to really show that he can be a main backup center in this rotation, and he failed to do so. I don't care that his plus-minus was plus 14. Again, that's a misleading number. He was not that impactful on the floor, and I can promise you that, because I went through the tape, and I'm sure anybody who has seen the game can agree with me on that. So that's really what I got to say about it. I want to get your final thoughts once more on this whole thing, though, before we wrap it up.
Oh, yeah, man. Before wrapping it up, I think the offensive hierarchy for the Knicks really is all over the place. So us asking or requesting anything, they're 3-3 right now. Having a rookie come in and kind of alleviate the backup center role right now while 3-3 is also another reason why. I think the way they kind of will wait a minute for Jericho Sims, give him about 15 to 20 games or so, just because he just knows Tibbs is going to be more comfortable with that and sitting 500 right now. But the plus for people that looking forward to the future without Jericho Sims, he's unrestricted free agent next season. So it's like after this season, you kind of see what happens for him in 25, 26. That's a whole different conversation. It's not going to be something the Knicks have to really concern themselves with. So that's a bonus if people want to look at it like that. But at the same time, for the time being, until Precious Achiuwa gets back, I do believe it would be what Tom Thibodeau wants to run. He'll make sure that Jericho Sims gets minutes, and we're gonna have to bite the bullet, man. We're gonna have to put up with this. We're gonna have to watch these games because Porty, I believe he will be getting production after I think 10 games in. But the next few games, man, we know eight man rotation this early is ridiculous. They're going to be giving Hug Porty minutes. Maybe not Jericho Sims 14 minutes per game, or he won't be out there playing 15 minutes like he was against Houston. But at the same time, 10 minutes here, 5 minutes for Hug Porty, something like that until they kind of can switch that around, 10 5, something like that. But we need to make sure that it's not too much on Karl Anthony Towns so early in the season. We're sitting at 500 right now. So that just gives me more of a validity around Sims playing and getting playing time. But I'm with you. I'm completely with you. Porty should be playing. It's just unfortunate. We know how Tibbs is. You know what I mean? It's just unfortunate circumstances right now. But Jericho Sims, this may be, through what we've seen, after we see this run here, this is his last year to kind of show what he can do. So if he's not going to be with the Knicks next year, that's another reason. Again, we're going to have to give him some chances to go show what he can do before we make another move. Or maybe we get rid of that situation and put you somewhere else and bring someone else in. They signed Matt Ryan. We don't know if he's going to be on a guaranteed contract or not, but they signed him as well. So filling out the roster spot before February trade deadline, it's going to be very interesting to see how the Knicks do that.
Yeah, and I wanted to say real quick too, like I was saying, I don't think Huck Porty is like the solution to everything. He's not the solution to the problems that the Knicks have on the bench. He's not. He's a rookie. You cannot rely on a second round, last overall pick rookie to, provide you insanely good minutes. You just can't do that, right? But from what we've seen, the very small sample size we've seen from Huck Porty has shown me more than Jericho Sims has shown me all season so far. He has. Huck Porty looks better on defense. He looks more mobile. He's staying home with it too. He's not fouling or any of that stuff. Playing good defense, getting blocks, playing hustle. He's getting back on defense, which is something Jericho Sims has not been doing, and that is why we keep giving up fast break points. So those are a bunch of other things right there. Of course, again, Porty has played barely, I don't even think he's eclipsed 30 total minutes this year. So I understand it's such a small sample size we can really look at. But why not give him a shot? That's just really the point I need to make. Why not give him a shot? What more does Jericho Sims have to really... What can Jericho Sims do at this point to make you go wow, he needs to keep playing? I don't think there's anything he could do. If he started shooting threes, maybe. But, we know he's not going to do that. So, with that being said, there's really no reason for me, at least, to sit here and say that Sims needs to keep playing. There isn't. I like the potential that he has and all that stuff, and I think, he could be a great player if he applied all of the tools he's got, but he has yet to do that in the 4 years he's been in the league. And it's 4 years. This would be different. Maybe we'd be having a different conversation if this was his second year in the league or something like that. But this is year 4. It's year 4 of more of the same and a little worse, if anything. There were times in years past that he had some pretty impactful games off the bench, or even when he started. Now he's providing nothing, and this is the opportunity where he could provide something because he's basically the only other center in the rotation at the moment. So he's not capitalizing on the opportunity he's given, and I don't think playing time is warranted for him right now. I think you got to give Huck Porty a shot against Atlanta. I really do. You play the Hawks tomorrow night. I think you got to give Huck Porty a shot. Let him loose, really. See what you can get. We saw Thibodeau let him loose against Cleveland, which is interesting because Cleveland has a very good front court. Cleveland has Jared Allen and Evan Mobley down there, and he trusted Huck Porty not only early in the game to guard Evan Mobley, but even in the fourth quarter. I thought maybe that was going to be the end of Jericho Sims right there, but it apparently wasn't. Sims has continued to play since, and Huck Porty has only gotten minutes in garbage time. So, again, I just want to see a change, and, again, it's early in the year. I understand changes early in the season can look overreactionary, but I don't see an improvement for Sims anytime soon, so why wait? Why wait and wait for him to just continue to hurt your second unit more? Why do that to yourself when you have a guy sitting at the end of the bench who is clearly trying to make a name for himself and clearly trying to make an impact on this team right now, not just years from now? So why not give him a shot? That's really all I got to say. That's the last thing I want to say about it. So if you have anything else to add, go for it, and then we'll wrap this up.
Hey, man, all I got to say, you make more money, you're going to have to play, unless your name is Evan Fournier, man. We got to, like I said, bite the bullet, man. It's going to be all right. But at the same time, hopefully after 10 games, Tibbs comes to his senses. That's all I got to say about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and again, we'll have to just bite the bullet probably because even though we're sitting here talking about why they need to make the change, realistically, don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah,
I think that Sims is going to end up sticking into the rotation at least for at least the rest of this week, unless the struggles just continue to get bad. But I want something different. I
yeah,
want a different look because we're thin. The rotation is super thin right now. Super, super thin, especially in the front court. So why not give someone else a look?
yeah.
I think this would be the time to do it because you're not going to give Hukporti a look when Robinson and Achua are healthy. So why not try right now? If you're not going to do it later in the season, this would be the time to do it. That's really all I got to say about it, though. So I think this is a good place to wrap up the episode.
Oh, yeah.
I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let us know what you think about the whole Sims and Hukporti discussion because we would love to hear it in the comments section below. You can follow us on all of our social media platforms. We're on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, of course this YouTube page that you are watching the video on. You can follow our personal Twitter accounts. They are above our heads. And we will see you guys in the next episode of Fireside Knicks. Peace out.